A crossroads for education in Texas. State money going to private schools.
We want to have a choice for all of our parents to take their kids to the best school possible.
In this pivotal moment for learning,
It's helped provide a private school experience for students who couldn't afford it otherwise.
we're looking at the fight over school choice.
I'm all for giving parents choices. I just think our parents need to be really careful.
When you lose 5 students, that's a significant chunk of money.
The questions parents have for the year ahead.
I'm just concerned that it's going to end up being a coupon for families that are already in private school.
And what the data says could happen in our schools.
I think when the vouchers are, when they are approved, that it could be 3 to 4 years before we see a significant drop in enrollment.
It's all in a special edition of The Learning Curve.
Hi everyone, my name is Lacey Beasley and I've been taking the lead on lots of education stories recently. A really hot topic in Texas has been the education savings account programs. A lot of people have been asking questions about it and we've been breaking down those answers. So I'm here with Andrea Lucia, she's on our I-team, and Jack Fink, who's our Eye on Politics reporter. Andrea, you've been looking at numbers and statistics and how surrounding states with programs like this have been dealing with it.
I mean, absolutely. We are really curious to see how school choice plays out here in Texas. We've been looking for those objective data points, the numbers that are going to tell us what kind of impact it has on our students here, on our communities here. We have 2 different political parties here in Texas who have 2 very different predictions of how this will play out. We don't know if it's going to be somewhere in the middle, if it's going to be better than people are expecting, worse than people are expecting. But I know when it comes to politics, I'm going to defer to you, Jack. I did want to ask you, though, Lacey talked about education savings accounts. I think I used the term school choice. Some people say school vouchers. We're all talking about the same thing, though, right?
Yes. I mean, we're talking about, depending on the political party, the terminology that you use. So the Republicans like to use the term school choice because it has a positive connotation. They support that. Democrats, on the other hand, like using vouchers. It has a negative connotation. But what we're talking about, as Lacey said, is education savings accounts, which is a specific kind of voucher that's administered by the state. And so now we're going to see this is going to be the largest such program in the United States.
And we have a breakdown for everyone when it comes to how parents will be impacted and how schools will be impacted.
The headlines. This will not be available for the upcoming school year. The Education Savings Account Program, or ESA, will begin the 2026-27 school year. For the next 2 years, starting in September, the state of Texas will set aside $1 billion of taxpayer money into the fund. Most families will get about $10,000 per year per child, while disabled students will receive $30,000 a year, and homeschool students will get $2,000 a year. In addition to tuition, the money can be used on education-related expenses, like textbooks, uniforms, transportation, and even meals provided by the private school. The program is open to all school-age children who are U.S. citizens or in the country lawfully. In the case there are more applicants than funds, there will be a lottery system based on certain qualifications, including siblings of children participating in the ESA program, children with a disability where the household income is at or below $160,000 for a family of 4. Students would then be prioritized based on household income. It's important to note, only 20% of the total ESA budget can be used for students from households making more than $160,000, and public school students who switch to private schools will take priority. We do know the state will have to file an annual report on all participating children. Let's talk about private schools. If they choose to participate in the ESA program, they must be in operation for at least 2 years and be accredited. Private schools still have the right to deny applicants using money from the ESA.
And Jack, this has been an ongoing conversation for years.
Well, it's interesting when you look at it politically. Texas has been, until now, the largest Republican state in the United States that didn't have this kind of school choice program. There are over 30 states that have it. And so when Governor Abbott tried to change this 2 years ago, there were still enough Republicans to join Republicans who killed it. And so the governor set out to change that, and he ran against all the Republicans who opposed it. And that strategy worked. Take a look.
to provide every parent with the ability to choose the best education option for their child.
One of Governor Greg Abbott's top priorities in the 2023 legislative session became education savings accounts for a wide number of students to attend private school.
Hey buddy, how you doing?
The governor hit the road, crisscrossing the state to sell his plan. While the bill passed in the Senate, it failed in the House during the regular session. So Abbott continued to push for education savings accounts during special sessions.
One of the freedoms we believe in is the freedom of parents to choose what is right for their child.
But during the fourth special session, 21 House Republicans joined all Democrats to sack the bill after a debate mostly between GOP members.
Mike Olcott.
Instead of calling a fifth special session, Governor Abbott went on offense during the 2024 Republican primary. Records from OpenSecrets.org show the governor received more than $10 million in donations from Pennsylvania billionaire Jeff Yass between October 2023 and April of last year to get his school choice bill passed. Abbott campaigned for Republicans who supported education savings accounts and ran against the incumbents who did not. After the primary and runoff, the governor said he believed he had the votes needed to pass his school choice bill in the upcoming legislative session.
The majority of Texans support school choice.
Fast forward to his State of the State address in February, where education savings accounts became his top priority this session. Unlike 2 years ago, Democrats in the House this year would have to fight against it by themselves, without help from rural Republicans.
Voucher scams are not school choice.
Democrats and those who oppose the school choice bill made themselves heard on the day the bill went to the full House for a historic vote.
This vote is about choice, so let the people choose and let them vote.
Nearby, the governor gathered with House Republicans to give them a pep talk.
So we just talked about how everything that they've been doing is just common sense.
During their meeting, President Trump called in to press his case.
But this is a big vote today.
Hours later, after all the debating, the moment of truth.
This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Show the speaker.
For the first time in the House, the measure passed.
There being 85 ayes and 63 nays, SB 2.
1 week later, the Texas Senate, which has previously passed this legislation, made it official.
There being 19 ayes and 12 nays, school choice has come to Texas.
So we certainly saw the dramatic difference this session because 86 Republicans voted for this school choice program, education savings accounts, 10 more than necessary, and all Democrats were going to vote against it. We knew that. Only 2 Republicans voted against it this time. One of those was the former Speaker, Dade Phelan.
And the other one
was Gary Van Dever.
Gary Van Dever, that's right. And so I talked to him. I was in his office, and I was kind of looking around, and I realized Gary Van Dever, he's from East Texas, and he is a former teacher, a former principal, a former superintendent, and he's a Republican. And I wasn't there to interview him about this, but I had to ask him, what was that like? Where did he stand on this? And he said because of his background in education, he just couldn't support school vouchers. And here I have a clip of him talking about his thinking on this.
A small rural district in my area, if they lost one child per grade out of their school to the voucher program and had one child per grade, well, kindergarten through 12, that's 13 children at $10,000 each, that's $130,000. Well, that small district, that is a huge chunk of their budget, and they can't cut a teacher. You only lost one child out of that classroom. You can't cut a teacher. You can't cut a bus route. You can't close a classroom and turn off the lights. Their cost will not go down $1, but they suddenly have $130,000 less in revenue.
Yeah, and Van Dever, he faced a tough primary, but in his case, he won.
I think he touched on a good point too, talking about the rural school districts. I also talked to Waxahachie ISD. We'll see that later on in the show. That's about 11,000 students, The CFO of Waxahachie ISD said something similar. He was like, yes, it's going to be a big chunk of money whenever X amount of students leave. However, he was saying they're looking at cutting teachers possibly. So that's something that we'll see flesh out in the next couple months, in the next year or so.
One thing I would point out as far as that bill, the legislature built in a floor so that districts would still retain some of the funding when students left to go to private schools to try to protect them a little bit. But you know, what's interesting is this fight may not be over yet. I'll have more on that coming up.